Welcome back to Fox 5's On the Hill Live this Sunday morning. You know, time is running out for Congress to pass key spending bills to avoid a government shutdown on March 1st. Now, lawmakers are in recess right now, but key issues like foreign aid to Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel, and the border policy remain unresolved. For more analysis on this, we want to welcome in Todd Belt. He's a political science professor over at George Washington University. He's been following politics in this city for decades. Let's start with Russia and Ukraine right now, because the events with Navalny death have really kind of turned up the heat on that situation. Is Putin emboldened right now because of the fact that Congress can't get this Ukrainian aid package out of Capitol Hill and into the hands of the Ukrainians?
Well, I think he absolutely is. And if you look at, they've just recently taken a city. The Ukrainians are running out of artillery, and you've got the Navalny issue. Things are working in their direction of the Russians. The United States can't seem to get this bill out of Congress. It's passed the Senate. Of course, it doesn't have the immigration part to it. And Speaker Johnson has said he won't bring it to the floor. The interesting thing is, if it went to the floor and had a vote, it would pass. There's about half the Republicans and nearly all of the Democrats who support it. The question is, what comes next? Are the members of the House willing to put together what's called a discharge petition to get it out? That would go over the Speaker's head, which is kind of risky, and you don't want to do that sometimes.
It's also very unusual, but do we have a Speaker right now that could prevent something like this? We have been hearing stories out of the Hill that Speaker Johnson has been winging it up until this point, and maybe they will do an end around him on this.
They may. Look at, you've got, with the Tom Suozzi election just the other day, you've only got 2 votes that you can lose if you're Speaker Johnson, and he's new to this. He's a greenhorn. He's somebody that they could get behind because he had really no history. He's not the Washington insider that Kevin McCarthy is, and he doesn't really have the carrots and sticks the way that somebody McCarthy did. McCarthy could raise a lot of money and he could take away your positions. We haven't seen that sort of from Johnson yet.
One thing that we do know about Putin is that he does like to be an agent of chaos within U.S. politics.
Absolutely.
If that door were to open and members of Congress and his own party go around Speaker Johnson, there are also other issues that are going on right now which they could lead to more discontent. There was a border deal that was agreed to in the Senate that didn't get anywhere in the House. If they do it for this thing, could the door come flying open on other bills that have been negotiated and settled on the Senate, which aren't going anywhere in the House?
I actually think it's the other way around. If they do get this, the aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan passed, then that's a huge chunk of money, and we're getting close to that deadline with the budget deals. And so then this becomes more of a salient issue for the members of Congress. Now they're thinking about spending, and they said, well, we just passed this huge one. Maybe we shouldn't be passing too big of budget deals, and it's going to make it a little bit more sticky.
You know, we can sound like Chicken Little sometimes, that the sky is falling every time another government shutdown approaches, but one is approaching, March 1st.
Yeah.
They have avoided the last couple of deadlines. Is it necessarily a given that they'll avoid this one?
Not necessarily. I mean, this is one of the things that they've wanted to do. The people who were bucking McCarthy is they wanted to get into the details of the budget deals. I don't know that they've really done that so far, and they don't have much time to do it. They might just kick the can down the road again, and we've got, you know, March 1st and March 8th to get 12 budget deals put together. I don't see them doing it.
Obviously, we had a lot of news this week on the Donald Trump front. Not only, you know, the fact that he had this huge $355 million judgment against him, but there's also the continuing questions before the courts as far as whether he would not be prosecuted or not. Jack Smith actually reached out to the Supreme Court looking for some guidance on moving this along. Does there seem to be a drumbeat right now that Trump is going to be able to continue this campaign of him despite this swirl of court cases that hang over his every step, bouncing back and forth between courtrooms up and down the East Coast?
Yeah, well, it actually helps him in the primaries. We've seen that every time he's indicted or has a problem, he gets a boost from the Republican Party. It keeps him in the news. Donald Trump has always been a master of taking bad politics and, bad news and turning it into good politics. And he's got such a lead. You can see that it's probably not going to ding him in the primaries. But what really matters is the general election, if it's going to ding him there with independents.
Nikki Haley used to be the governor of South Carolina.
That's right.
Trump is ahead by a wide margin. Does she just stay in this race as some kind of safety gap if one of these court cases were to somehow remove him from eligibility?
I think so. I think she's really playing the long game here. She wants to continue through Super Tuesday. She said that, and there's going to be some places where she can rack up some delegates. She wants to go into the Republican convention with a slate of delegates to say, hey, I'm next person up.
Todd Belt, political science professor from George Washington University. Good stuff. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
Here today.